Welcome folks, I am Jaby Koay, joined by ACHARA KIRK. This is our review for Brightburn. This is produced by James Gunn. It's directed by David Yarovsky. It's written by Brian Gunn and Mark Gunn. The first part of this will be non-spoiler. If we go into spoilers, I haven't decided yet, we will let you know loud and clear beforehand. This is from IMDb. What if a child from another world crash landed on Earth, but instead of becoming a hero to mankind, he proved to be something far more sinister? Now, from the trailer, I gotta let you know, I was super excited for this. Like, from the very first commercial, I was like, wow, this is totally something I am into. I've long wanted to see the Superman tale story turn on its head and shown to us in a different way, in a different light. That's exactly what we got.
Yeah.
From the beginning of the movie to the end, I'm like, wow, this is exactly what it would be if Superman was evil instead of good. That is both a positive and a negative, is what I've come to learn. The short takeaway for me is I have two reviews for this. In terms of just being a bold experiment, I give it a 5.
Yeah.
But in terms of a movie with a story, I give it a 2. Because it didn't really have a story. To me, this should have been a short film, and it would have been a very effective and thought-provoking short film. But to stretch it out over 90 minutes, I'm like, okay, I feel like we got the point at around the 45-minute mark, and it kept doing the same thing after a while. I wanted to bring in some other scores just for your consideration. On Rotten Tomatoes, audience score currently holds a 77%, and the tomato meter is a 58%, and on IMDb, it's a 6.6 out of 10, albeit this is Friday, the movie's just coming out, and so, you know, we'll see really how people feel over the next few days. But this is how it is right now, and I'm inclined to agree with these scores. I'm like, it makes sense that there are mixed feelings about this. I think that it's awesome what they went for.
Yeah.
I've long, like I said, long wanted something different in terms of the Superman origin story, but I just don't feel like it went far enough or it did enough to really warrant it being a feature film.
I do agree with what you said, but I did really enjoy the acting from Elizabeth Banks and I think it's David Denman who played the mom and dad in this. I thought they were awesome. I enjoyed their chemistry. I really liked Elizabeth Banks because I felt her pain. I felt her disbelief. I just bought her as his mom, and I thought they were the two best things about it.
Without getting too deep into anything, the main evil person who should be Superman, but is like he's just Brandon in the movie. He is not someone that I ever felt empathy for. He was just kind of a monster, basically, in this movie. And I was hoping that what was going to influence his behavior was going to be something organic and based on humanity. As far as I can tell with the Superman story, Superman is inherently inspired by humanity in some way, and it's what makes him fight for justice, is that he sees the good in people. And what I wanted here was the opposite, where Brandon, the alternate version of Superman, sees the horrible in people. And I wanted that to be what inspired his behavior in the film. But instead, it's nothing like that. That really bugged me. I really wanted it to be something deeper than that, something more thought-provoking. That for me was kind of a disappointment. It was a letdown, but I still liked that they took that story and flipped it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, as a hero or an anti-hero in this case, we still need to have a reason to root for the character.
Right.
And because he lacked depth, it was almost or virtually impossible to do that. If you'd had seen his struggle more with trying to be good or wanting to be good, rather than just saying it in a few lines in the movie, actually showing it, then maybe we would have been able to have more of an emotional connection to him. But like you said, he was just portrayed as a monster from the start. So we're like, okay, why should I care?
Right, and so, you know, that being said, when it comes to any movie story, at least as far as I've read with screenwriter books and stuff like that, what you need is a competent main character that you're kind of hooked into, that you're following. You're following this person's plight, their trajectory. You are bearing their obstacles with them, vicariously. I didn't really get a sense of that here. What I got was, you have the two parents who, and you sort of feel their pain as any two people would who have this adopted child, so to speak. And then you've got this god, this kid who's basically a god, and he is unstoppable. He is just an unstoppable force in the film. There's no challenges for him. There's no obstacles for him. Maybe minutely here and there, but whatever is given to us as a thought to consider, it quickly vanishes and never makes a comeback.
Right.
And so there are no obstacles for him. As far as his objectives go, it's just this forward trajectory and nothing gets in his way. which would work in a short film about this character. Like, it's totally realistic insofar as you've got this guy who's got these powers and he doesn't care for humanity. He's completely indifferent and has no empathy whatsoever. Yeah, this is basically how it would go down, but I don't need 90 minutes of that. I can deal with that for maybe 30. Now, let's talk about like some of the more specifics about the film. It's an R-rated film. It's a hard R. It makes no qualms about it whatsoever, which is fine. But because I didn't have any empathy for characters in the film, because I didn't really, I mean, the closest to empathy I could feel was for the parents. Like, oh gosh, like that sucks for them. But I really didn't know who I was rooting for, because you've got this anti-hero and you've got these parents who don't know shit about what to do. There's no trajectory for me to root for somebody. It was just like I was watching shit go down, basically. When violence is happening in the film, a story like this, like I want it to be honest, I want it to be, realistic. But it got to the point where I was like, I feel like this is more for shock value than it is for telling a story.
Yeah. Because
without someone to root for, without someone that I'm hoping, comes out on top, I'm literally just watching violence unfold. And it was the same kind of beat over and over again.
If you're a fan of really gory horror stuff, it's there for you. I was pretty grossed out by it.
It was pretty shocking sometimes.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. For me, it's hard. It's just hard for me to get scared when I'm watching a film. I saw you getting riled up from the film. I heard people around me freaking out at the gore. I never forget that I'm watching a film when it's trying to scare me. For some reason, I don't know if it's like a defense mechanism, but I just didn't get scared whatsoever when it was trying to scare me. But for the people in the theater, it seemed to do a wonderful job of people freaking out and getting grossed out. So, I mean, for your average viewer, I'm guessing that it'll be a very entertaining film and you'll get some good scares out of it. Yeah, I mean,
it was tense.
But for me, it didn't do that. This is the short of it. I did enjoy certain moments of the film. I liked how they were able to make the film look more expensive than it was. Mm-hmm. From what I heard, it's a $7 million movie. When it looks like so much more than that. I was blown away by how good they were able to make it look. The short frustration for me is that I just wish it took it further. I wish it went deeper with the characters. I wish it took more time with the film and maybe it was 2 hours instead of 90 minutes and really got us deeper inside these characters. Maybe had more obstacles for the anti-hero before he goes full-blown supervillain, basically.
Right. I've heard it kind of be compared to Chronicle, which was a movie that I very much enjoyed. And even at the end, when you've got the kid turning bad, he wasn't bad from the beginning.
Right.
Right? You see his
progression,
his trajectory. Whereas I see in this, they tried to make it be like he was a cute kid when he was little.
Right.
And he's a little bit bullied in school. But then it turns really quickly.
Right.
It doesn't seem that he's trying.
Right, but here's the thing, like, I completely understood why he was bullied based on what happens in the film. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, it totally was justified that he was bullied in the instance that he was. I mean, the main thing that kind of sets everything in motion, you know what I'm talking about, without giving anything away. Chronicle is a great thing to bring up because I felt like that was a much better movie overall, but that had the benefit of having multiple people with powers, whereas here you've only got the one. That's as far as I'm gonna take it for the non-spoiler part. I wanna get into the spoilers now. So you guys, my score, as far as just being a bold effort, I give it a 5, because I'm like, this is such an anti-Hollywood movie. That's so cool that it is. But yeah, 2 out of 5 as far as a story goes. I didn't feel like hooked to the story.
So an average would be like a 3.
Average would be a 3, yeah. 3 out of 5, yeah. And what I wanted here was the opposite, where Brandon sees the horrible in people. And I wanted that to be what inspired his behavior in the film. But instead, it's nothing like that. He's just there on a mission like a Saiyan. He was basically a monster that came to Earth to be a monster. That's as far as it went, that's as deep as it goes, and that for me was kind of a disappointment. It was a letdown. I'm literally just watching violence unfold, and it was the same kind of beat over and over again. The main character doesn't like someone, he kills them. Done. It was that simple. And you see this from the trailer. What you saw from the trailer happens multiple times in the film, and you're like, and then that's it. The end is what I took greatest issue with, because they gave away too much in the commercial. You saw that the sheriff got taken out by Super Kid, by Brandon. So there was no surprise. And by that point in the film, you've well established that this is an unstoppable force. Nothing can stop this kid or slow him down. So when you got the sheriff, the short-haired lady with the shotgun, trying to do whatever, I'm like, I have no hope for this lady.
No.
I know she's gonna get killed, and there's nothing that scares me about it because I just know she's gonna go down in the most horrible way possible, which she does.
Yeah.
When the mom runs out of the house, Brandon flies out from the top and he sees her. I'm like, you're telling me this kid who can fly faster than a speeding train can't catch up to his mom when she's hobbling towards the farmhouse?
Okay, so I just had a thought, which literally just occurred to me right now. They established from the very beginning that Brandon likes to play games. His favorite game is hide and seek. So,
all right,
you
fine.
could say that maybe, because he was playing the game, he was doing the whistling, it was like a game to him with his mom. I mean, that's tenuous.
That's a stretch.
Tenuous.
That's a big stretch because he was in angry Super Saiyan mode at that moment with the red eyes and all that stuff. He was pretty upset. So that's a stretch. That's a good argument. That's a stretch for me though. But anyway, she goes down to the spaceship and pulls off what is alien technology, alien architecture, right?
Yeah.
This kid is an unstoppable god, and yet she can just yank off a piece of metal from his ship. I'm like, okay, I'll forgive that. Because he needs kryptonite, cool. But then she goes to stab him and he stops her, and I'm like, God, this would have been such a more interesting movie if there was another 30 minutes or so there and she actually did cut him. He actually did have an obstacle of some kind in trying to survive, because he had zero obstacles in this movie. Whereas if she actually hurt him and then we saw that kind of back and forth struggle, like the end of Terminator 2 where everybody's destroyed to the end of the movie, even if you want to kill her off, even if you want it to be that he comes out the victor, I want to hope that she's able to do something.
Right, yeah.
But like, as soon as he caught her, like, it was so short-lived when she had this knife and he catches it and then he takes her up into the sky. I'm like, well, I know what's gonna happen now. Like, there's nothing, there's no surprises left. I just wanted the movie to be a little bit longer, at least at that point, to see what would happen. Once she finally turned and realized, my son's a murderer, I gotta take his ass out.
Yeah.
Like, let this adventure breathe, because that's really where the adventure comes in the movie. All the other stuff is just kind of like a repeat of the same action in the story over and over again.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it would be so much more interesting to see, I guess, more of the parents grappling with that, which you do get a sense of. It's not an easy thing, first of all, to realize that your kid is a psychopathic killer, and secondly, to take the responsibility of taking him out because no one else can or will. So that would have been interesting to explore more of in the other half. I do wish that they would have shown him having more remorse, because even in the bit where he's gonna kill his mom, you know that he's gonna do it.
Right.
You know?
I want to see hesitance of some kind.
Exactly. I wanted to see a little bit of like, I love you, Mom, I don't want to do this, but like...
Right, that's why I was saying in the non-spoiler part of this, I was really hoping that it was going to be organically informed, that he actually is searching for a reason not to destroy humanity.
Right.
But he can't. He just sees that the majority of people are horrible to each other, and he's like, why shouldn't I destroy you all?
Right.
All you're doing is harming the planet, harming each other. We should just start the shit over. Just like wipes you all out. Like that, then that becomes his objective, and it's clear, as opposed to it being informed by a machine.
Or like a mission from his home planet.
He is literally a Saiyan, because I don't know if you guys watch Dragon Ball or whatever, but I've been watching it a lot lately, and so the whole thing is like these Saiyans are sent to planets, and they're basically just one Saiyan is supposed to wipe out the whole planet,
right,
and clear it. Anyway, yeah, those are my feelings about the movie. Again, I really enjoyed what I call a bold effort. I thought that it was really cool, and I'd been long waiting for something like this. It just didn't go as far as I thought it could have. I think that it fell short in certain areas, but I'm glad that I watched it. I'm glad it exists, and I hope that this inspires other things like it, but takes it further instead of just being a gore fest at the end of the day.
Right.
You guys, do let us know your thoughts in the comments below, your thoughts on our thoughts, your thoughts on the film. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check out our other reactions, reviews, short films, and vlogs. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.